Momo, Akane's friend, responds unexpectedly to their breakup at her apartment. She inquires whether it was the online game they had previously played because she finds it amusing that Akane has been replaced by a girl Takuma met there. She thinks back to the moment Takuma first introduced her to the game, still perplexed by the fact that his passion for video games drove him to cheat on her with someone else. Akane is lucky to no longer be dating him, says Momo, who finds it ridiculous. Although she agrees, Akane finds it difficult to be energetic. Akane discovers Takuma has already removed her from his friends list when she logs into Forest of Savior, the online game they used to play together. She regrets spending money on the game after they broke up. While she is playing by herself, a player from the same guild as her named Yamada asks if she is looking for the Seer Stone. While talking to Yamada, Akane notices that he tends to be withdrawn and replies late. Yamada is unconcerned with her issues and requests permission to set up camp at her location to search for the Seer Stone. She is offended by his response and tells him to find a place to camp alone. Yamada agrees, but bitterly informs her that he does not care about her issues. Suddenly, Akane notices a notice for a live event that will be held close by to celebrate Forest of Savior's first year. Takuma's parting words from the day before also come to mind as she reflects on the moment they made their eternal commitment to one another. She realizes in tears that she might not let go of her previous relationship. Akane requests Momo's company at school so they can go shopping for clothing for the event after class. Akane receives a complete makeover while they go clothes shopping together. Akane wonders what the characters in these people's games might look like as she observes various people participating in the offline game event on the day of the event. She was busy looking around when she heard a loud voice calling Takuma's name, which prompted her to turn around and see Takuma and his girlfriend. However, she loses them in the crowd when she runs into someone and tumbles to the ground. The person she runs into helps Akane get back up despite her embarrassment. The guy tells her he doesn't care about her problems before leaving. That quote made Akane recalls Yamada, a player she once met in the game who had a blank expression. Yamada asks Akane who she is, but his monotonous response heightens her unease. Takuma and his new girlfriend suddenly approach them, but he ignores Akane and only looks at Yamada. Takuma greets him enthusiastically and introduces him as a professional gamer to his girlfriend, claiming he's a huge fan. Akane, being overlooked, introduces Yamada as her new boyfriend. Akane offers him a discount code for Yamada if he agrees to play along. Akane considers her act successful but becomes envious when she sees his girlfriend console him. She and Yamada go to a pub after the event, where she complains about Takuma and his girlfriend. She tells Yamada about them. Akane inquires about Yamada's professional gaming career. He explains his profession, but Akane is ignorant about gaming. She asks him a few questions, but he replies coldly. Akane warns him that he will not be popular with women like this. But Yamada says he is no interested in romance. She is moved to tears as she imagines Takuma and his girlfriend and excuses herself to the restroom. When she returns to the table, Yamada has left, and she assumes he has gone home since she demanded him to stay. Akane sobs as she realizes she is alone until Yamada returns with a box of band-aids from a convenience store. He bandages Akane's wound. In a daze, she orders more drinks for herself. Akane wakes up the next day with a hangover and a voice in her head. Standing up, she notices Yamada sitting near his desk with his setup, talking to someone while playing. He sees Akane has awakened and excuses himself to his team. Akane fears she and Yamada had sex, but all he did was let her sleep. He asks her to leave and not to see her again. Akane realizes her necklace, the first gift she received from Takuma, is missing. Tracking down Yamada in Foss, he insists it is not at his apartment and then criticizes her over using the limited space in the guild's storage box. Akane logs off upset. Yamada finds the necklace by accidentally stepping on and breaking it. Akane realizes she needs to move on from Takuma. She spots Yamada in public harshly rejecting a classmate's confession and is compelled to scold him, while realizing Yamada must be a high school senior. Yamada returns the broken necklace, which deeply upsets her. Give her his umbrella in the rain. The next day, Akane's mother abruptly sends all her belongings from her childhood bedroom, filling her small apartment with boxes. She realizes this is why Yamada was upset about the guild storage box and she throws away everything she doesn't need. Getting drunk again, she visits Yamada to thank him for everything. Yamada actually hints it might be nice to see her in Foss again. Momo arranged a group date for Akane to introduce her to a potential partner. However, during the date, Momo was disappointed by the date's outcome, but later discovered that Akane had been receiving messages from Ruri-chan, causing her distraction. Momo questioned whether Ruri was a real woman and suggested that the person might be a middle-aged man, but Akane insisted that Ruri was a high school girl. While walking home, Akane noticed a cosplayer wearing an outfit similar to Ruri's character, which reminded her of Princess Ruri. Upon returning home, Akane eagerly logged into her game, feeling more excited about it than any romantic attachments. She discovered that Yamada and Ruri were the only ones online and observed them reminiscing about their past guild experiences. Akane had a passing thought that Ruri and Yamada might be a couple, but was invited to loot with them. Yamada later left due to his plans, leaving only Akane and Ruri online. Akane had a flashback to her past relationship with Takuma, realizing that Ruri and Yamada were similar to them. This realization stirred up unfamiliar emotions within her. In the meantime, Ruri and Yamada exchanged private messages, with Yamada ending with a "see you later" message to Ruri. Akane spent the entire day preoccupied with the possibility of Yamada and Ruri being in a relationship. After finishing her class, she encountered the man who had been paired with her on a previous group date and was also in the same lecture as her. He noticed her using her phone during class and eagerly greeted her. As they walked to the bus station, Akane noticed a girl resembling Ruri's in-game character. At that moment, Yamada approached the girl, and they left together, leaving Akane feeling confused. She returned home and reflected on her thoughts and feelings. At the same time, Ruri messaged her about the upcoming opening of a Forest of Savior-themed cafe and invited her and other guild members, including Yamada, whom Ruri had encountered earlier. Despite her hesitation about the possibility of Yamada and Ruri being a couple, Akane accepted the invitation, eager to confirm their relationship status. Akane woke up and felt fine despite Momo's previous concerns about her meeting new people. She was near the train station, which she frequently rides, and used her phone's map to locate the Forest of Savior-themed cafe that Ruri mentioned. Unfortunately, Akane got lost while looking around, but a friendly guy wearing glasses asked if she was playing the game and heading to the cafe. He shared his thoughts on the game, and Akane politely agreed to most of it, admitting that she's still a newbie. As they approached the cafe, Akane saw Ruri waving at them from across the road. Yamada was nearby, talking to an elderly gentleman. Akane greeted Yamada first and then enthusiastically greeted the girl she thought was Ruri-chan. However, she quickly realized the girl was different from her in-game personality, and someone named Ida had to introduce her to the actual girl who looked exactly like Ruri-chan's in-game character. It transpires the handsome guy is Ruriheim, real name Ida, an old-school friend of Yamada. An old man named Takezo also joins them, whom Akane has never met in Foss as he specializes in raiding dungeons. The girl is Ida's sister Runa, who plays Foss so rarely almost no one else knows she is a guild member. Akane is relieved Yamada is in fact single and didn't lie to her. Runa hates Akane's causal relationship with Yamada and demands to know if she loves him, causing Ida to scold her rudeness. Meanwhile, Yamada worries Akane is upset with him, exasperating Ida that Yamada doesn't understand girls at all. Yamada thinks back to a childhood friend he had. After the mixer ends, Runa jealously decides to get Akane expelled from the guild. Sharing a train home, Akane struggles to maintain conversation with Yamada but settles on food. Discovering his terrible diet, Akane impulsively gives him days' worth of home-cooked meals from her freezer, confusing him. Runa calls Akane to apologies and invites her to spend Saturday together as friends. Yamada knows Runa already has plans for Saturday and is suspicious. Akane arrived at the meeting spot where she was supposed to meet Runa, but found a strange man waiting for her instead. Runa messaged her that a situation had arisen and she would be late. He mistook Akane for Ruri and made her uncomfortable by commenting on her physical appearance. He even went so far as to follow her to the women's restroom, causing her to feel trapped. Meanwhile, Yamada had arrived at Ida's house for a tutoring session with Runa, but was puzzled as to why he was having a session with her instead of being with Akane. When he attempted to force his way inside, Akane was frozen with fear. After initially denying it, Runa eventually confessed that Akane had unwittingly agreed to meet a zealous supporter of her brother's in-game character. This prompted Yamada to postpone the tutoring and come to Akane's aid. Ida used his account, which Runa had used to invite the stranger. At that exact moment, Takezo unexpectedly arrived, upset and concerned about Akane due to Ida's exaggerated remark about what had happened to her. The group obtained the exact location of the meeting and went there in Takezo's car. Runa, who was also in the car, indicated she did not want to apologize and appeared jealous of Akane's attention from the guild members. When they arrived, they found Akane sitting with the stranger. Ida asked Akane if she was okay and noticed a bandage on her leg. The stranger explained that he gave her some medicine because he thought she was in pain, but Akane accidentally hurt herself due to her shock. Yamada apologized to Akane for not informing her about his tutoring session with Runa, which explained why Runa could not meet her. Despite being close to them, Runa appeared upset and ran away from the group. Akane reached out to Runa as she left but instead stumbled in front of Yamada. Runa came back to ask if Akane was okay, surprising her. Before Runa could apologize, Ida interrupted and warned her that she would receive a lecture. Yamada, who had bent down to assist Akane, informed Runa that she had done something dangerous, which prevented him from helping her. Ita was about to confront Runa, but Akane suddenly claimed she had a stomach ache. Akane explained that the pain had moved from her legs to her stomach and requested a specific medicine from the top shelf, which a pharmacist had recommended, or else it would not work. With the guys gone, Akane and Runa were alone. Akane initiated a conversation with Runa, asking about her level and proposing to go hunting together sometime if Runa was interested. Runa was surprised by Akane's friendly attitude towards her, as she expected Akane to be angry at her for leaving her to meet a stranger, causing Akane to consider quitting the guild. Nonetheless, Akane chose not to be upset with Runa and left the lecturing to Ida, as she had come intending to be Runa's friend. Upon arriving at the meeting, Ida, Yamada, and Takezo brought the medicine that Akane had requested. To their surprise, they saw that Akane and Runa had already reconciled while Akane was comforting Runa. 6 flashbacks show that Runa was coddled by her parents and Ida, making her selfish, childish, and unable to make friends outside the internet. Then she met Akane, whom she considers a friend but is also aware Akane is older and has other friends besides her, so their friendship is not one of equals. Despite this, she has warmed up greatly to Akane. While also hanging out with Akane's other friend Momo, Runa becomes bad-tempered about sharing Akane. Akane believes she and Yamada have grown closer after he apologizes for an insensitive statement and uses an emoji. Akane's computer short-circuits, leaving her unable to play FOSS, so Ida and Runa have Yamada visit Akane to repair it. Runa begins to suspect Ida was right. Akane might be the perfect match for Yamada. At Ida's suggestion, Runa plots a love comedy ending by pushing Akane onto Yamada for a lucky pervert scene, but this only injures Yamada's eye. Runa's plot is somewhat successful when Akane tries to see Yamada's eye, putting their faces close together. Yamada is so surprised by her proximity he quickly leaves, claiming he forgot his computer repair tools. 7 Yamada quickly stopped at the nearby convenience store to purchase some beverages. Surprisingly, the store employee approached him and said he always buys the same drink. Just as he was about to leave, she stopped him and engaged in further conversation, mentioning that she was an alumna of Tusei Academy. She strongly desired to talk with him, leaving Yamada puzzled about why a convenience store employee would show such interest in him. Upon returning to Akane's house, Yamada discovered both Akane and Runa peacefully sleeping, their mouths gaping open. Akane, who was sleeping on the floor, had prepared omelette rice on the table for him. Yamada then handled her laptop and the tools he bought carefully, ensuring not to disturb her slumber. As Yamada observed Akane in her deep sleep, slowly, he unclipped her hair, causing it to cascade down. Holding onto the clip, he gazed at Akane, who remained unaware of his actions. Soon after, the doorbell rang. Takuma arrives at Akane's apartment, but instead of finding her, he is greeted by Yamada. Surprised by Yamada's presence, Takuma introduces himself as a big fan and expresses his curiosity about why he is at Akane's place. Takuma starts to believe that Yamada might be Akane's new boyfriend. Carrying a paper bag, Takuma explains that he came to return the bento boxes Akane had given him. He admits to being concerned about her well-being after their breakup and wants to find solace in seeing her doing well. Yamada assures Takuma that Akane is doing fine and offers to let him see her for himself, but Takuma politely declines. He leaves the apartment complex and asks Yamada not to inform Akane about his visit. As Takuma departs, Yamada remains by the doorway until Akane has awakened from the apartment. Yamada returns the bento boxes to her, claiming they mysteriously appeared. Akane giggles at Yamada's attempt to cover up what happened earlier and expresses her gratitude for handling the situation. Before she can leave, Yamada returns her hairpin and confesses that he had unclipped it from her hair while she was sleeping. He admits to having no particular reason for doing so and then receives a phone call from Ida, leaving Akane puzzled. Akane, facing financial desperation, decides to apply for a part-time job at a convenience store. She confides in Momo about her situation and learns that Ida repaired her laptop free of charge, prompting Akane to express her desire to repay him financially. However, their conversation is cut short as Momo is engaged in a group date that doesn't turn out as expected, leaving her still not finding her soulmate. Akane has just logged in and is greeted by Ida, who assumes the persona of Princess Ruri, and Komoda, known as Takezo, the sub-master of their guild. Akane approaches Princess Ruri to inquire about the cost of repairing her laptop, but Princess Ruri explains that the parts used were second-hand and provided without charge. At the school premises, Yamada is disposing of some trash bags when he catches the attention of a group of freshman girls observing him. As they casually converse about a future gaming session, one of Yamada's classmates notifies him that his phone has been incessantly ringing and learns that Tsubaki had watched his FPS match stream the previous day, commenting on his underwhelming performance. She suggests that his lackluster performance might be due to his negligence in FPS. Yamada explains that the server for the match was overseas, resulting in lag, but Tsubaki dismisses it as an excuse. While checking his phone, Yamada receives a guild announcement from Ida, notifying him that they will be attending Tusei Academy's Public Culture Festival and instructing him to secure tickets. At the festival, Akane notices Runa is unwell from stress as she will soon take the entrance exam to attend the school. While she recovers, Akane sees Yamada busy with his class and decides not to interrupt him. Yamada sees her anyway and talks to her straight away, making her smile. A nurse diagnoses Runa as just hungry, so Akane and Yamada visit the food stalls for her, though being with Yamada draws jealous questions from the girls they pass, delaying them. Ida jokes since the rumors have started they might as well start dating, embarrassing Akane, who runs away. Ida starts to follow her, but Yamada beats him to it and stops her by using her first name for the first time. He apologizes for the bad joke. Akane asks him what he would have done if she'd agreed to date him. She is shocked when Yamada responds that he hasn't thought about it because he sees her as too good for someone like him. After Akane finishes her shift, she and Yamada leave the store together. Akane discloses her intention to make him a bento as a gesture of appreciation for helping her with her laptop. Suddenly, Akane sneezes as a cyclist passes, prompting Yamada to pull her out of harm's way swiftly. Akane then puts on a mask, and as they continue talking, Yamada expresses his hope that Akane's cold doesn't worsen. Later on, Akane discusses Yamada with Momo while Momo does her nails. Akane shares her thoughts on how subtly kind-hearted men can be daunting, as it is challenging to discern their genuine interest in a woman. Momo encourages Akane to act on her feelings, emphasizing that concealing them would be futile. Suddenly, Runa contacts Akane urgently, requesting to meet and mentioning an important matter related to their guild. Akane and Runa rendezvous at the park, where Runa shares her apprehensions regarding a new female member joining their guild. Akane feels disappointed by Runa's exclusive attitude towards women and hopes that the new member isn't lacking experience in online gaming. Runa confesses her intention to drive the new player away with an elaborate plan, but Akane reassures her they can form a friendship instead. Runa discloses that Yamada, taking a break from playing FPS games, invited the new member to join them in playing MMOs. Although surprised by Yamada's inclusion of a girl, Runa suggests that Akane directly approach Yamada for more information. Tsubaki thanks Yamada for introducing her to his guildmaster in Forest of Savior. He admits that she has never discussed gaming with her female friends, as their focus is primarily on dating. Okamoto playfully teases Yamada when he receives an anonymous phone call, but Tsubaki defends him by remarking that he struggles with matters of the heart. After their classes, Yamada, Tsubaki, and Okamoto walk home together, and he and Tsubaki notice that Yamada is on the phone. Akane's phone rings, displaying Yamada's caller ID. She answers the call, and Yamada apologizes for not responding earlier. Akane explains that Runa had given her his number and sneezes. She mentioned having something to ask him earlier but now needs to go to her part-time job since the manager couldn't reach the employee assigned to the night shift. While waiting for Okamoto outside a restaurant chain, Tsubaki inquires if the girl Yamada was talking to earlier was the same girl he was with during the cultural festival. Yamada confirms this and adds that she is part of their guild in the Forest of Savior. Tsubaki then asks about Akane and what kind of person she is. Yamada ponders silently, recalling Akane's occasional silly expressions and imagining her smiling at him. Tsubaki asks if Yamada likes her, but he remains silent. Upon reaching the convenience store, the manager expresses gratitude to Akane for covering the absence of another employee. She accidentally drops her phone, noticing how unusual it is to have Yamada in her call history. As she gazes at her reflection in the mirror, her thoughts drift back to her conversation with Momo about her feelings. Contemplating what she wants for herself, Tsubaki logs into the Forest of Savior at home and joins the Chocolate Rabbit Guild. While Yamada is tutoring Runa for the upcoming exams, she receives a call from Akane, and her hoarse voice surprises her. Akane informs Runa that she won't be able to play games with her today due to being sick. After ending the call, Runa hopes that Akane is doing alright. Back at her apartment, Akane takes cold medicine to alleviate her illness. She attempts to drink water but spits it out due to a sore throat. With the clinic closed on Sundays, her refrigerator empty, and Momo not answering her calls, Akane realizes she is having a stroke of bad luck. Determined to buy some food, she sets out on her bicycle, but collapses before she can even leave. On her knees and hopeless, Akane realizes she could have ordered food to be delivered to her apartment. Yamada comes to her rescue and catches her before she faints. However, Akane initially believes she is hallucinating upon seeing him. Tsubaki is upset by Yamada's absence and recalls falling in love with him after he beat her in another online game. She now fears she waited too long and has lost him. Tsubaki also remembers Yamada told her how a long time ago a classmate was bullied for having a crush on him, causing her to transfer schools. Yamada began avoiding girls entirely, leading Tsubaki to delay confessing to him until now. Akane worsens, so Yamada takes her to hospital and takes her home again when she is discharged. By the time she awakens, she remembers nothing and is alarmed Yamada is asleep in her apartment. Her belief in him causes Yamada to remember the girl from before and how badly he failed her. Though Akane talking about how her own breakup helps him feel better, understanding the situation more. Her dehydration causes a leg cramp which Yamada helps with, causing her to realize that despite being on her bed she feels safe with him. Her expression making him laugh. Morning arrives, so Yamada leaves, even though Akane wants him to stay and is sad when he is gone. Even later in the day, Momo stops by to deliver Akane's groceries. As they work together to organize the refrigerator, Momo discovers that Yamada took Akane to the hospital the previous night. Curious about their relationship, Momo asks if they're dating, but Akane assures her they're just friends. She finds it unusual for a man to take care of a woman he's not romantically involved with, like Yamada did for Akane. Before leaving, Momo advises Akane that timing is crucial for love and asks her to update her on any developments with Yamada. She checks her phone for Yamada's response to her message, in which he assures her that he's doing well. Just then, she receives a message from Runa, asking if they can hang out over the upcoming weekend. This makes Akane wonder if Runa logged in yesterday to meet their new guild member. Deciding to take a break, Akane logs into Forest of Savior and encounters Princess Ruri and the newcomer named Tsubaki. Princess Ruri invites them to join her on the hunting grounds, and Akane gladly accepts. Tsubaki mentions that she hasn't fully mastered her attacks, but Princess Ruri suggests that Akane can help her since they both play as paladins. Akane shares her concerns about possibly choosing the wrong job. However, Tsubaki, who researched before playing the game, informs Akane that paladins are the only ones capable of taking on bosses solo. While immersed in the captivating graphics of Forest of Savior, Princess Ruri observes as Akane and Tsubaki struggle to defeat a powerful monster. Akane complains that Princess Ruri shouldn't have joined them if she wouldn't help take down the monster. However, she reassures them she'll assist if they're on the brink of defeat, as the monster is relatively easily vanquished. Princess Ruri admits to finding it fascinating how their inflicted damage pales compared to the monster's swift recovery. Akane and Tsubaki resolve to unleash their attacks relentlessly, undeterred by the monster's assault. The duo makes progress in weakening the monster, but it regenerates its health over time. Princess Ruri offers them a clue to overcome it, but they decline the assistance. Their efforts fall short, and the monster retreats from battle as time expires. After the skirmish, Akane and Tsubaki discuss their strategies, with Princess Ruri observing fondly, delighted by their interaction. Eventually, Akane excuses herself, explaining that she has to leave, leaving Tsubaki in the company of Princess Ruri. Curious about the monster they attempted to defeat, Akane calls Yamada for information. Yamada confesses his lack of knowledge about the creature, as he hasn't encountered it yet, opening that monsters of that caliber don't pose much of a challenge. Meanwhile, Princess Ruri assists Tsubaki in repairing her armor. Princess Ruri inquires about Tsubaki's feelings towards the guild. Tsubaki expresses relief at the friendly atmosphere and apologizes for her initial disinterest in the game. Subsequently, she contacts Momo, expressing her desire to discuss something important, then decides to meet Momo at a cafe chosen by Momo. As they meet up at the cafe, Akane starts the conversation, but surprisingly, she begins talking about being dumped instead of what Momo expected to hear. After placing their order, Momo expresses her disappointment in Akane. She had waited a whole week for Akane's fever to subside and even missed a group date to meet up with her, hoping to hear a romantic story. Akane explains that she has been reflecting on love lately and admits that she wants to address her insecurities regarding romance. She finds it silly that she regrets not asking Takuma why he broke up with her. Suddenly, two men who were part of the group date Momo attended stumble upon their table and occupy the space. Momo feels uneasy with their presence but assures Akane that she'll handle the situation. Fortunately, the waiter returns with their order and reveals himself as Ida, who is on duty, saving Momo and Akane from the bothersome men. Once the men are escorted away, Akane expresses her gratitude to Ida for coming to their rescue. Surprised by Ida's good looks, Akane mentions that Ida is in the same guild as Yamada, to which Momo comments that playing games is more enjoyable than going on group dates. After finishing his shift, Ida meets up with his coworker, who invites him to karaoke in the evening. However, Ida declines the invitation as Runa waits for him to return. On his way out of the cafe, Akane and Momo call out to Ida. They explain that they have been waiting for him all this time, and Akane mentions that she has something important to tell him. Akane is embarrassed, so Momo blurts it out for her. Akane is in love and wants to know why she was previously dumped. Ida assures her Yamada is much kinder than Takuma, and with Yamada's personality it would be better if she is blunt with him. Akane decides to confess immediately. As soon as Akane leaves, Momo makes a move on Ida. Arriving at Yamada's home, she attempts to confess, but Yamada needs to leave for cram school. She accompanies him but does not want to confess in public. Yamada promises to phone after his class. It begins raining and Yamada ends up sharing his umbrella with Tsubaki. As they are about to go their separate ways, Tsubaki blurts out her own love confession to him. Akane is saddened when Yamada texts her he will have to phone another day. Later, Ida asks Yamada about Akane's confession. He visits Akane, who notices he seems upset, so she delays confessing to cheer him up, talking about Foss. Yamada later goes out to speak with Tsubaki. After some initial awkwardness, Tsubaki goes on a directionless rant of everything she likes about Yamada, making him increasingly uncomfortable. Having finally said it, Tsubaki feels enormous relief but is not surprised when he rejects her, finally admitting for the first time that he likes Akane. Akane goes to dinner with Ida, Runa and Takezo, who apparently is secretly a company president in real life. Yamada arrives late and is put in charge of Akane, cheerfully drunk after not realizing how strong the alcohol was. He decides to skip eating and take her safely home, holding her hand the whole journey. At her apartment, she drunkenly asks if he likes her. She asks if she can phone in the morning to hear him say it, and they end up hugging goodnight. The next day, Akane struggles with the notion she has a boyfriend younger than herself and worries about being a distraction or a burden. As they walk holding hands, Yamada can't help remembering their chaotic first encounter months ago.